Team, today we're going to look at a couple battery sources and options that you could put in your kit bag and why they might just be the best thing since sliced bread or the worst thing that you've ever wasted your money on. Let's get to this. So the first one that we're looking at is the Ninja Bat. This one is a 300 watt power bank. And then I got the Oops. This dude is a 1200 power bank. So let's take a little look at some of the functions and features of each one. We're going to get a pot of coffee going here in a second based off of, we'll use the smaller one here. And I'm going to let you know what my experience has been with both of these. I've had the Ninja one for about a year, and I've had the Oops, I'm probably saying that wrong, whatever, for probably about the past 3 or 4 months anyways. So we were going to try to use this dude here, and see, it's coming on and tripping. She ain't cutting it. So let's get over to the big boy. We can see she's firing right up, getting her going. All right, so we'll let this dude get going here and run through a couple of the other things that I've noticed with each one, and just go over again some of the features and functions that they both have to offer. You know, when you're backpacking, or maybe you're just putting in a suitcase or a carry-on bag, having a small brick is handy enough to charge a phone maybe once or twice, but that's about all you're going to get from it. The Ninja battery I've actually had no major issues of. Now, the major problem that it's going to have with firing up and running a coffee maker is the amount of amps that it's drawn. Although this is a 300 watt power station, you have a light. Thanks for that interruption, Ninja. A couple places to plug in a 110 volt. You got some USB things as well, and then a couple of different ways to charge it. Both in a wall outlet as well as in your vehicle. I've primarily used this to work and power some lights as well as a computer. Now, my computer, I think it's like a 2014, and it is crapping out pretty big time. So I can only get one full charge for my computer with this guy. I want to say this dude runs maybe $200 on Amazon. In this guy, you can see 1200 watts. You have 3 outlets as well as some USBs and a couple different outputs, and then you have a couple inputs. And I know that they also sell solar panels that you can go to. Riggs just found himself a bottle that you can also use to charge it. When it comes to charging, this dude from empty to full will take about 6 hours to get a full charge off the wall. This one here takes about 3 or 4 hours. So they do take a little bit of time. And I can tell you that with the big guy here, I've made 7 pots of coffee without any issues. Man, and she's brewing up nice and good right now. I have to add some good stuff. It also has a light. And so I think there's a couple different applications for things like this beyond maybe just what we're thinking. So again, you know, the smaller bricks, it's going to get you a charge off of your phone. But in today's age, there's a lot more equipment that we need to be able to keep charged up and to keep operating. For example, you know, just for myself, when I'm coming out into the woods, I carry a drone, I carry all my camera equipment. And although I have multiple batteries to give me a little bit of depth and some additional time I can use with these things, they don't last forever, right? My drone batteries will last about 15-20 minutes. So I have all of that time with those, but then if I have my power bank with me, I can charge those from that as well and keep going. So maybe I'm going to a base camp and I want to do some reconnaissance, send out my drone, do the recon that I want to do using that unmanned aerial system. bring it back, and then charge that same battery I just used before I step out, right? Maybe you're thinking about, you know, worst case scenarios in the house and your power goes out. Maybe you live in an apartment and the option or the idea of having a gasoline or diesel or propane powered generator is not an option for you. This is going to give you a couple days of function for most of the items that you have in your house that you would need, whether we're talking about, you know, CPAPs, whether we're talking about other medical related gear, whether we're talking about just running some appliances. Being able to survive in a grid down situation, it's really hard to put a price tag on it, although we all have to. Again, this dude here, about $600 I want to say, and the smaller one is going to be a couple $100s. And they go up and beyond from there. But obviously, I would say right off the bat, when it comes to running appliances and things that are drawing hard amps, make sure you understand what you're getting. This thing is just as good and it's going to power just as well as a smaller gasoline powered generator. That being said, this is probably going to give you 1,000 or 2 full charges before that battery in there is completely toast. So you can imagine the amount of things that you can run during that time. One charge, again, 7 pots of coffee, no problem. Charge my computer, no problem. Charge my drones, no problem. Take all of the things that I need to in order to be able to step out in some kind of a power blackout situation. Now maybe you're thinking, or that you want to think about even a bug out situation. Maybe it's a cabin that you just need to have some power in and run some lights and some small appliances. Maybe you are thinking, what can I have and put into my vehicle so that I can move off to a off-grid location, again, whether we're camping, whether we're going to a cabin, or whether I'm just trying to get out of Dodge for whatever reason. Something like these provides almost no noise, whereas compare that to the noise that you're going to get from a diesel, gasoline, or propane powered generator. Now you have people who can hear your location, that know you have power, and they might just come and see what's going on with you. Does that make sense? So both of these are really quiet. They will provide a little bit of noise when the fans kick on, if they need to help cool them down, like you heard the Ninja one do. But for the most part, they're pretty dadgum quiet. Certainly quieter than the rain that's happening around us. And I hope that this coffee, man, she's about done. Let's pour this up and we'll get some closing thoughts. We'll look over here real quick. You can see it says it used 3%, started off at 100%. So that's probably not 100% accurate. It probably used a little bit more than 3%. And certainly the longer that the coffee pot is on and it's operating, the more wattage it's going to be drawn from it. But odds are, once we turn this off and turn it back on, maybe in an hour or so, it's probably going to show closer to 85%. On that note, full transparency, man, I have seen that the big dude, I've plugged it in to charge it in the wall, and it'll get up to maybe 86% and it'll just stop for whatever reason. Unplug it, plug it back in, same thing. It's not accepting any power. Plug it out, plug it back in a couple times, eventually it'll kick in. And when it did kick in, it automatically showed me that it was already at 100%. So a little weird readout system, but overall, I'm pretty happy with it. Just looking for rigs. Didn't see where he went off to. Team, just a little quick review off of these things. I do think that they're value added. I think they have their place in our kit. Whether we do have one in the back of our car or a truck for a road trip, whether we're going camping, whether we're going to a cabin or a bug out location, thinking about being off-grid in 2022 is a lot different than being off-grid in 1960. Now these things could be a crutch And so I would advise anybody to get outside of that mentality of thinking that I have to have power. But if you are in a place in your life due to medical reasons or whatever, that you do need some power when you're off in the boonies, these are some pretty good options that you don't have to worry about lugging fuel. You don't have to worry about maintenance or upkeep. And again, you don't have to worry about that noise. Let me know what you think about these things down in the comments below, especially if you have, because there are thousands of manufacturers of these things, it seems like. So if you have some experience with a different manufacturer that you want to share, definitely make sure you leave a comment down below. That way we'll continue to keep this conversation rolling. As always, until then, you stay out there, you keep grinding, and you stay stoked. Now, I'm not a big fan of 3-point lessons or outlines or speeches or anything else, but I do think that there is something to knowing and understanding that you have to make a choice in your life. You have to make a choice in the direction that you want to go for you and your family. You have to be willing to make a change in the direction that you're heading, if that's what it comes down to. And you have to take a chance. You know, odds are you're going to get smacked in the face, and you know that's life. I think we've all been smacked in the face more times than we can shake a stick at. But if you don't take a chance, you're never going to see the change that you're hoping for in your life, because you never made a choice to get after it. You made it this long, man. I appreciate you guys for sure. Your continued support means the world. Here's to you.